Dear students, this is 11th Zoology video class, Chapter 8, Part 3, Excretion. Chapter 8, Part 3, Excretion. Last video class, we have seen structure of kidney. Then we have seen structure of nephron. Then and also we have seen structure of nephron. We also seen what is cortical nephron, then what is juxtamedullary nephron we have seen. The next topic we are going to see is the one urine formation. Mechanism of urine formation. How urine is formed in the kidney. That's what we are going to see. This ornithine cycle, this topic also we have completed. This topic also we have completed. Here, urines are formed. Urines are formed in three main processes. Urine formation involves three main processes, namely glomerular filtration, then second one tubular reabsorption, the third one tubular secretion. So these are the three main processes we are going to see in urine formation topic. So this is important topic. Listen carefully. If you are textbook, take out your textbook. You can underline this three main process. One is the one glomerular filtration. Second one is the one tubular reabsorption. Third one tubular secretions. What do you mean by glomerular filtrations? What do you mean by glomerular? I'll show you one diagram. Here, this part only we call as a glomerulus. Glomeruli. The filtration which takes place in this glomerulus, that is we call as a glomerular filtration. That is we call as a glomerular filtrations. Here, the blood enters the kidney from renal artery into the glomerulus. Blood is composed of large quantities of water, colloidal proteins, sugars, salt, nitrogen waste, end products. All these waste materials are, all these elements are present in this one. The first step in urine formation is filtration of blood that takes place in glomerulus. Here, this part only we call as a glomerulus. The first steps in urine formation is the filtrations of blood that takes place in glomerulus. This is called as glomerular filtrations. These filtrations they undergo passive process. The fluid that leaves the glomerular capillaries and enters the Bowman capsule is called as a glomerular filtrate. Here, this inside that red color we call as a glomerular. Around that red color we call as a Bowman capsule. Since the filtrations occurs in the glomerulus, the capillary, glomerular capillaries, that enters in the Bowman capillaries, Bowman capsules. That is because a glomerular filtrate. The glomerular membrane has a large surface area and is more permeable to water. So here the glomerular membrane, they have large surface area. It is more permeable to water. Permeable means what? Where they can pass through, the water can pass through. That is we call as a permeable. And small molecules present in plasma, that also can be permeable. The blood enters the glomerular faster with a greater force through the afferent arterioles. Here, through this afferent arterioles only, blood will enter. Through the afferent arterioles only, the blood will enter and leaves the glomerulus through afferent arterioles. So here, this is we call as a afferent arterioles. The blood will enter into afferent arteriole and just they go out of this Bowman capsule through the afferent arterioles. This force is because of the different size between the afferent and efferent arterioles. Okay, and the glomerular hydrostatic pressure, which is around 55 millimeter hemoglobin. Just underline, take your textbook. Each and every cardiac output, whenever the heart pumps the blood, each pumping process 55 millimeter of hemoglobin with pressure they enter into the afferent arterioles. Here the kidney produces about 180 liters of glomerular filtrate in 24 hours. The molecules such as water, glucose, amino acids, and nitrogen-based substances pass freely from blood into the glomerulus. Okay, the glucose also will be there, water also will be there, amino acids also will be there, nitrogen substance also will be there mixed in the blood. And they just pass freely from blood into the glomerulus. The molecules larger than the 5 nanometer. The molecules, which molecules? The glucose, amino acids, nitrogen base, all these things, molecules which are larger than the 5 nanometer are just blocked from entering the tubules. What is tubules here? This is what the tubules from 1, 2, 3, 4, all these things we call as a tubules. The elements which are present in the blood, which are larger size than the 5 nanometer, which are larger than the 5 nanometer, will be blocked. That's what they say. So it will be barred from entering the tubules. Glomerular pressure, which is chief force that pushes water and solute out of the blood across the filtrations membrane. The glomerular blood pressure, that is, as I told you earlier, approximately 55 millimeter hemoglobin. 55 millimeter Hg means hemoglobin is much higher than the other capillary beds. So here these are the capillary beds. That's the glomeruli, the red color in between the crossing the tubules like structure. That is because of capillary beds we say. This includes the two opposing capillary beds. The two opposing force are contributed by the plasma proteins in the capillaries. So the 55 millimeter hemoglobin just comes into the glomerular filtrate, and opposing pressure, two opposing pressure which occurs inside the glomerulus, that is a two opposing pressure just coming out from the nephrons or from the Bowman capsules. One is the two opposing forces are contributed by plasma proteins in the capillary. So this includes colloidal osmotic pressure. Colloidal osmotic pressure. Okay, in this area, this is because of colloidal. The one is there, and that area we call as a before that one number one is there. The red tubules like structure, that is we say as a colloidal pressure. Colloidal osmotic pressure comes, that is 30 millimeter hemoglobin colloidal pressure. And capsular hydrostatic pressure 15 millimeter hemoglobin. So here, as I told you, two opposing pressure which comes from the Bowman capsule. One is the one colloidal pressure. That colloidal pressure is the one 30 millimeter hemoglobin, whereas the capsular hydrostatic pressure, that is a 15 millimeter hemoglobin. Just add this two pressure, 30 plus 15, 45 pressure. How much pressure of, how much force the blood which enter from heart to kidney means 55 millimeter hemoglobin. Just subtract this 55, subtract by 45. Subtract the 55 into 45. The total pressure which enters in the glomerular filter is the one 10 millimeter hemoglobin, responsible for the renal filtrations. So that's what they given in this one. You can just go through. The effective glomerular pressure of 10 millimeter hemoglobin results in ultrafiltrations. Ultrafiltration, just mark it 2 marks, and there is another 2 marks, GFR. GFR, glomerular filtration rates. The volume of filtrate formed minimum 1 minute of in all nephrons of both kidneys. That is because of glomerular filtrate rate. 1 minute with the help of minimum 60 seconds. How much blood just filter in the glomerular? That is we call as a glomerular filtrate rate. Is approximately 120 to 125 milliliter of blood just filter per minute. That is we say as a glomerular filtration rate. The blood from glomerulus is passed out through the efferent arterioles. Here this is we call as efferent arterioles. And the smooth muscles which present the efferent arterioles are contract, resulting the vasoconstriction. So that's all about the information about this one. Which one? That first filtrations are glomerular filtrations. Then second one is the one tubular reabsorptions. Tubular reabsorptions. And the mechanism of formation. So far we have seen glomerular filtration rate. That's what just so far I explained. You can go through. The next filtration is the one tubular reabsorptions. Tubular reabsorptions. A certain important elements which is needed to our body that have been reabsorbed by tubules. That's a PCT, DCT, all these things, loop of Mille, all these things we call the tubules. Tubular reabsorptions. This involves the movement of filtrate back into the circulations. As I told you, the elements which is necessary to our body, that element is filtered back and just given to the circulations of blood. The volume of filtrate formed per day is around 170 to 180 liter, and the urine released is around 1.5 liter per day. Nearly 99% of glomerular filtrate that has to be reabsorbed by renal tubules. So here the volume of filtrate formed per day is the 170 to 180 liters. It has to recycle again and again. The urines are formed per day is the 1.5 liter. It's nearly 99% of the glomerular filtrate that has to be reabsorbed by renal tubules that contains certain substances needed by body. This process is called as a selective reabsorption. The important minerals, nutrients and water which is necessary to our body that have been reabsorbed, that is because of reabsorptions. That is because of selective reabsorptions. So they are going to absorb selectively only the particular things alone, particular elements alone. The reabsorption takes place by tubular epithelial cells in different segments of nephron, either by active transport or passive transport, by diffusion method or osmosis method. The next one is one PCT. PCT means proximal convoluted tubule. Here, PCT, they absorb glucose, lactate, amino acid, sodium, and water. The filtrate is reabsorbed in the PCT. What is PCT? I'll show you here. PCT, proximal converted tubules, in this area. Proximal tubules. So in this area only, the glucose, lactate, amino acids, sodium, and water is filtrate, is reabsorbed in the PCT. Sodium is reabsorbed by active transport through the sodium potassium pump. The migrations of sodium potassium, that is we call as a sodium potassium pump. The small amount of uric acid is also reabsorbed. It's also reabsorbed in the proximal converted tubule. The next one is the descending limb. Yeah, this is because of descending limb. This parts. Okay. Loop of Henle is a permeable to water. The descending limb, I'll show you. And I'll show you one diagram. Wait a minute. Okay, the diagram they don't show in your new book. It is there in the old book. If you have old book, and you can refer. So again, we'll come back to that nephron, structure of nephron. Descending limbs, I'll show you. Yeah, this is the we call as a descending limbs. The proximal converted tubules just comes down. Okay, in this area, what are things is going to reabsorb? The descending limb of Henle loops is permeable of water due to presence of aquaporins. In this area, there is a one membrane is there. That membrane we call as the aquaporin. That membranes allow water inside it, permeable to water, but not permeable to salts. So water is lost in the descending limb. Hence sodium and chloride gets concentrated in the filtrated. Here, what do they say here? The water alone just they can permeable one due to presence of aquaporin. That's one kind of membrane. Okay, or kind of cells we can say. But not permeable. Sodium chloride is not allowed to go out of that limb. Which limb? The descending limbs. The next we'll see ascending limbs. Ascending limb of loop, Henle loops. It's impermeable to water. So descending limbs, it's a permeable. The descending limbs, the water can pass through it, whereas the ascending limbs, the impermeable to water. The water cannot pass through. But the solutes, that's as we are seeing the sodium, chlorine, potassiums can pass here and there. That is a permeable one. That is the explanations of ascending limbs. The next one is the distal convoluted tubule here. DCT, distal converted tubule. These are the parts. Distal converted tubule. Distal tubule. Can you see here? Here, the distal converted tubule recovers water and secrete potassium into the tubule. So they reabsorb water and secrete potassium into the tubule. Sodium, chloride, and water remain in the filtrate of the DCT. Most of the reabsorptions from this point is dependent on the body's need is regulated by hormones. So whatever the important elements needed to our body that have been absorbed by regulations of by hormones. The reabsorptions of bicarbonate takes place due to regulate the blood pH. So bicarbonate is needed to regulate the blood pH. And homeostasis of sodium, potassium in the blood is also regulated in these regions. The next one is the collecting duct. Here, this is we call as a collecting duct one. Permeable to water, secretes potassium ion and reabsorbs sodium ion to produce concentrated urine. So here the permeable to water, water can move here and there. Water just can be reabsorbed. That's what they say is a permeable to water. Secretes potassium, sodium Why do they secrete? Means in order to produce concentrated urine. The change in the permeability to water is due to presence of number of water permeable channel is called as aquaporin. So it's a kind, as I told earlier, it's a kind of membranes where they can pass or where they can allow the water to pass. The next one is on tubular secretions. The last topic or last methods of urine formations is the one tubular secretions. Here the substance which are escaped from the filtrations of PCT, DCT, Henle loops that have been absorbed by certain hormones. That is because of tubular secretions. That is we call as a tubular secretions. Here, this is what part. This is the topics tubular secretions. The substance such as hydrogen, potassium, creatinine, organic acids, all these things they move into filtrate from the peritubular capillaries into the tubular fluid. Okay, as I shown earlier, peritubular. You can go through previous video where you can learn that what is the peritubular capillaries. The most of the water is absorbed in the proximal cavernous tubules, and sodium is exchanged for water in the loop of Henle. The loop of Henle. The hypotonic fluids enter the distal converter tubules, and substances such as urea and salt pass from peritubular blood into the cells of the DCT. Then urine excreted contains both filtrate and secreted substances. Once it is entered the collecting duct, the water is absorbed and concentrated hypertonic urine is formed for every hydrogen secreted into tubular filtrates. Sodium is absorbed by the tubular cells. Then hydrogen, the HCO3, HPO3, NH3 gets fixed, and H2CO4, H2PO4 and NH4 respectively. These have been everything just absorbed. Okay, our secreted combines all these things. Since hydrogen gets fixed in the fluids, reabsorptions of hydrogen is prevented. Then formations of concentrated urine. Here, this is the formations of concentrated urine. The formations of concentrated urine is accomplished by kidney using counter current mechanisms. They'll ask you one word, just take out and underline. The major functions of the Henle loop is the concentrated sodium and chloride. There is a low osmolarity near the cortex and high osmolarity towards the medulla. Already I just shown you what is the cortex, what is the medulla. Yes. The osmolarity is in the medulla is due to presence of solute transporters and maintained by the arrangements of loop of Henle, the collecting ducts and vas rectus. These arrangements allows the movement of solids from filtrate to the interstitial fluids. I'll show you. Just see one diagram. If it is there, I can explain to you easily. Okay, here this is what counter current mechanisms. What do they say here? The movement of water ascending and descending limbs, that is we call as a counter current mechanisms. Okay, the formations of concentrated urine is accomplished by kidney by using counter current mechanisms. Here, the major functions of loop of Henle is concentrated sodium and chloride. There is a low osmolarity near the cortex and high osmolarity towards the medulla. That is we call as a counter current part. This counter current part we'll see in the next class. So today we have seen mechanism of urine formations up to tubular secretions and formations of concentrated urine we have completed. Today we have seen formations of concentrated urine. Here, this is the collecting duct and formations of concentrated urine. Up to this one we have seen. And also we have seen the distal converter tubule, ascending limb of Henle and descending limb of Henle, proximal converter tubules. All these things just explained to you. And here glomerular filtrations, everything just explained, go through. If you don't understand, where we can have the discussions in our direct class. Students, go through. This is a somewhat little complicated one. If you don't understand, just ask me again, I'll explain to you. Okay, bye. Take care.